you, how did Shark Tank happen?
Shark Tank has become such a big community. We did not do any auditions. We got a direct call from Shark Tank.
The investment which you secured from Shark Tank, how have you utilized those money into your business?
We were already in a certain scale of business. Only 60 lakh came from Shark Tank. It's not a very significant amount that would make a difference in the business.
Post Shark Tank, what impact did Shark Tank got for Chika?
Most brands were talking about 5x sales number orders and 10x numbers. Unfortunately, we did not get those number of X's.
Conversations around periods is still a taboo, especially in countries like India. What were the common misconceptions you had to deal with when you started with period care products and everything? Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Unicorn Mindset brought to you by Register Karo. I am your host Bhumika Rawat, and today our guest is none other than Richa Kapila, the co-founder of DChika. You might have seen her on Shark Tank India Season 3 where she secured a jaw-dropping investment of worth rupees 80 lakhs from Vinita and Namita. So buckle up for this exciting and fun conversation and let's get started. Hi Richa, welcome on our podcast. I would like to know with what vision you started DChika and what's with this name actually? Why is this name?
So DChika, a lot of people actually ask me this. So it's actually a very simple name and resonates with the target audience that we do, which is teen girls and young women. Till the time they don't know what exactly it means. So DChika is D stands for the, and chica is girl in Spanish.
Okay.
So it's the girl. So we address every girl as the girl because it is important, and we make sure that every girl that we are communicating with is as important as anything around on any gender or any age group. And it is very important that so the whole brand communication is about being bold, fearless, limitless, and confident. So just trying to portray that as DChika.
Okay. Initially, what were the initial struggles which you faced when you thought of opening DChika, and what was the gap which you identified?
DChika, when we opened, actually, I've been in the business for over 10 years now. And we started DChika in 2019 when we did a lot of research and trying to understand that because we were doing kids category before, and while doing kids category, we realized that we weren't actually solving a problem. And kids category being such a saturated market, there wasn't a lot of scope of scaling it to the level we wanted to scale. So we tried to understand the category better, did a lot of research with friends, family, market, online forecasting, everything, and we realized that there was this gap age group between 8 to 17, 18-year-olds, which apparently was considered coming under the kids category, but clearly they were nothing to do with kids because their choices, body types, everything was not kid category. And kid category was prominently focusing on 2 years or infant to 5 years old. Okay. 5 to 6 year olds. So, and then, or these category which was 17 year olds were either going to the women's category and looking for smaller sizes. So there was no one brand or anybody talking, focusing and making products specifically for this particular age group. Having said that, at that time there were international brands focusing on and had some collection focusing for this, but it was so limited and so vanilla and so inappropriate for the Indian body types and requirements that it did not resonate for them. So there were always a gap. So that was the gap we figured out, and we started with the innerwear category and started with the beginner bras. So at that point in time, that year, which was 2019-20, beginner bras or trainer bras wasn't a keyword or a concept which people understood. Like between you and me also, when we were teenagers or when we were 13, 14-year-old, nobody actually told us that there was a beginner bra or a trainer bra that you need to wear if you entering your womanhood, when during your changing body years. So and the thing is that the women were also not educated because they never got anything. And and obviously this was such an important product, and it was a product that is a need of the market which was supposed to be there and existed, but it wasn't there.
Correct.
So that was what we so when we started, it was more about not only making it available but educating the mothers and the teenagers and the young women that this is a product which is available in the market and you need it because of these 10 reasons, because your body is changing and you need a product which supports that.
Correct. But how did you sell your first product then?
We sold so we were always before also we were digital first, so we always had platforms like First Cry, Hopscotch, Amazon at that time was there, so Myntra had come in, so we were selling through marketplaces.
Okay, and you were not doing from your website?
No, so that was the whole thing we should have actually done, and that at that point, back in 2020, website was actually not a platform where where it was so equipped and matured like it is today. Developing your own website was very capital intensive, branding heavy, and a lot of tech integrations were not as matured as what it is today. So so at that time it was very difficult for us, and we did not focus. Not that at that time people did not build their D2C brands, they did, but we unfortunately did not do it. We just thought of going and scaling it because it was a completely bootstrapped brand, so we won't be focused on making easier sales to build that. So marketplaces does easy sale for you, and we started from marketplaces. We made sure that we create a product market fit,
Okay.
and just accepting the product and educating, because the whole point, it was not a existing product, it was not something that which already existed and it was easy to just sell it. The whole idea was, we did a lot of social media at that time. We were doing performance marketing and we were doing branding, but it was more about educating people. So we were focusing on that, just trying to inform people that there is a product like this which is needed in the market and you need to pick it up. And at that time, educating and having accessibility to the marketplace was the easiest thing that we could do.
Okay. As you said that you were not, proactively working from your website and everything. Initially, how did you convince the mothers, the teen mothers, that that they should go for their daughters, these bras and everything? How did you
So we
convince
did
them?
a lot of ads, and we did a lot of performance marketing on
Initial level?
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. So we did a lot of ads, we did a lot of communication. So Amazon has always been a very seller friendly marketplace, where you have the freedom to communicate and give information of on independently. So that access was there. So we did a lot of ads, we did a lot of content which was actually educating the clients or the customers about the product. And then keywords was something we were working on, listings we were working on it. And also, because it was a niche at that time, because there was nobody doing, so there were very few brands. Even if we picked up something like a bra for a 10 to 12 year old, or a bra for a 16-year-old, so there was no too many listings available. So we were one of the friends who obviously came up. So we organically had the listing power with us, because we had picked up a niche. So if we did not enter the cluttered keywords,
yeah.
so that way it helped in growing.
Okay, and I believe that starting a business is never easy, especially when you were a woman. So, what were the challenges which you faced when you started this particular business or your previous businesses?
All right. So it's quite an irony, but and no one would believe, but innerwear market is a very male-dominated market. So you will find very few players who are making innerwear for women by women. Mostly men are running it. So the whole point was that how would a male gender able to create an innerwear garment which is a second skin for a female, and make it comfortable and understand the challenges that she's facing
Yeah.
for it. So there was no way. Now very recently people have started focusing on the comfort. Before that, nobody gave a damn about how uncomfortable innerwear for women is there. Like it was available. Like women innerwear has been the most uncomfortable set of pieces available. So nobody actually cared to make it comfortable because it was made by men.
Correct.
So the whole point that women making a product for women made more sense, because naturally the product would be better, because you yourself, because Deechika, like I told you, is a very personal story. You know, my co-founder Vani, she's a mother of a teenager, and I myself, when I resonate with my teenage days, or my first menstruation, or my first bra, it wasn't the most pleasant memory for me. So I wanted to make sure that that memory in the coming teenage or the coming generation doesn't come out to be like that. It doesn't have to be. They have to have a happy memory of something like this, which is one of the most important phases of life for every woman.
True. So, how is your products different from your other competitor brands?
See, it's not a lot about the product, and it's never about a product. So there will always be, we might be the first movers, or any brand who's coming up with a niche. The only benefit that it gets, that it'll be the first mover, and it will get a first mover advantage. But apart from that, you will always have competitors, and you will always have people coming up with similar product, and that is also validation of whatever you're doing is you're doing it right, because more people are doing it, so that makes anyway sense that your whatever you're coming up with is something which is needed in the market, and that's why everybody else is coming up with it. And apart from that, it's so Deechika is not only about product selling, creating a business. It's more about communication and brand language, trying to solve a problem, and talking about social taboos. So when we're talking about brand communication and brand language, we are not telling people to buy bras or buy period panties. We're telling them that why they need to buy it, and what problems are they facing and could face if they don't wear the right bra, or if they wear a disposable plastic sanitary napkin in there for their menstruation. What are the problems they would face, and what if they wear a reusable period panty? What is it going to do to them? What is it going to do to the environment? What is a right bra or a right innerwear at the right age going to do to them, or their body, or their comfort and their confidence? So that is what we work on.
But being a girl as well, I feel that period panty is still new to me to accept, because I don't know why I'm particularly scared of using it. I don't know if it's leak proof, either it will be effective or not. I am really confused about using it or not, because before coming here as well, I was thinking that whether should I try it or not, because I haven't tried ever the period panty thing ever. And that's what I wanted to know from you, that how do you convince teen young mothers or teen mothers that they should buy these products for their daughters?
So it's very simple, because Deechika period panties are lab tested. So one most important thing, that there is a chemical called PFO and PFOS, which is a chemical which is generally found in menstrual products and can cause cancer. So our first test that is done on our reusable period panties are PFO and PFOS, which is not in our product,
Okay.
and it is lab tested, and we test it through international labs. Secondly, it is one of the most comfortable garment to wear, because when you're starting with your first period, okay, you're already used to wearing a normal cotton panty or a normal panty, hipster panty, right? And all of a sudden you're handed over a alien sanitary plastic pad. Instead of that, if you're given a period panty, which is the closest substitute of what you're already wearing,
Correct.
and it's serving the same purpose, so it anyway creates the transformation, makes the transformation easy. And it is very comfortable. And when you're starting with menstruation at adolescence age, your period cycles are not regular, in a way that they're still trying to be timely. They're
Yeah,
creating the
correct.
cycle. So, and you're going to school, you're an active child at that age. So you can not practically wear a sanitary napkin, probably 15 or 20 days of the month. So it's better and it's more easier to wear a sanitary, a reusable period panty. Apart from that, it is very, very comfortable. And why it's comfortable? Because it doesn't makes you feel it doesn't give rashes because it's cotton fabric. It's not plastic touching to your, and the inner layer is an antimicrobial fabric, so there is no bacterial or fungal issues that can be created. Secondly, it has a absorbency layer and a leak proof layer which gives 8 hours a leak proof feature in it. So, and it's not that we are promoting that you should absolutely avoid and leave a sanitary napkin or a tampon or a cup. We don't promote that. We always say that using period panties is very subjective because every woman's body type is different, her flow is different, her according to her comfort level. She can buy a period panty. If you want to start, a first timer like you, if you want to start it, wear it during the night, wear it probably on your first day, or wear it probably on your third day, so that you're safe. Wear it during the night, so like at least you having a peaceful and a comfortable night. And once you feel confident and and honestly every girl knows their body. So you figure it out. You don't have to, that is not something you need to educate anybody. Once you start using the product, like it's not like sanitary napkins don't leak, it's not like cups don't leak, or a tampon doesn't have malfunction issues. Like you do have stains even with these menstrual products. So menstrual products as a category is very subjective for every girl. So nobody would come in, and if there are brands that are committing 100% leak proof, 100% just 100% leak proof and not, it's not like that, because every body and every flow is different.
True, correct.
And imagine a sanitary napkin committing that we are 100% leak proof. We all know that you do have stains even when you're wearing a sanitary napkin. So, the only thing we can do, we create a product which is lab tested, which is safe, which is solving a purpose. Somebody who thinks has a very high flow can, pair it with another sanitary product. It's not like you have to wear this, but as a comfort level, it's much better than the alien products. And especially at their adolescence age, I feel that you don't need to give them an inducive product or something which is plastic, or which is so different. And it's not, I think it's very unfair to do that to a girl who's entering to the most beautiful phase of her life.
But if a girl is using a period panty, so at what time should she change? And as in how many hours of it can
So
take?
again, so we say 8 hours, but
Okay.
also depends on the flow.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever flow, how you're committed, because you know your body. So you know your day. So you wear your period panties accordingly.
Okay. And based on that, we'll have to change every time.
Yeah, you change it. So you change it, you wash it off, you rinse it off with your hand and under of flowing water, and then you can put it in a washing machine and just clean it off.
Okay.
So it's a very easy way of doing it. And we get a lot of concerns about washing it. A lot of people don't find it comfortable washing it, but honestly, like I said, other menstrual products also create leakages and stains. You wash that as well, right? So what is the problem in washing this? And if you're washing it and just putting it in a washing machine, how does it matter to you? You're actually saving like at least 200 tons of carbon footprint and wastage, which is literally criminal for the coming generation. So if you can put like one step of actually doing something to the environment, and which also is giving you comfort, then why not?
Even I am convinced I would like to try it. I've never tried it.
No, you would. No, please do. And please pick up Deechika's period panty.
Sure.
and I'm sure you come up with a great response.
Sure, I'll try it and I'll let you know as well. Also, I would like to know that conversations around periods is still a taboo, especially in countries like India. So, what were the common misconceptions you had to deal with when you started with the period care products and everything?
So when we started Ichika, we used to do a lot of school events where we used to create workshops for on menstrual health, and we used to interact with all the students, all the girl students in schools and colleges, and that's when we understood that how big a taboo and menstrual or period myths are still very 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 alive even in cities like Delhi, because they still used to encounter things like achar nahi khana, mandir mein nahi jana, things like that during menstruation, which is a myth, and you know it, but still it is being followed in most households. So we did a lot of these content creations saying that these are all myths and please do not follow it because it doesn't make sense at all. So that is the kind of information we're trying to put out. And apart from that, when it came to period panties also, the same questions that you had, so just trying to talk to them, give them more and more information, going to schools, going to colleges, and the kind of ads that we used to create was also very informative and educational.
Okay, and between you and Vani, who handles what basically?
So I take care of the product and the branding part of the business,
Okay.
and Vani takes care of more of the strategic and the finance part of the business.
Okay. And for both of you, how did Shark Tank happen?
So Shark Tank, from the stories that I've heard, and now because Shark Tank has become such a big community of entrepreneurs among ourselves, uh, so Shark Tank follows a protocol of interviews and auditions. So Deechika, we did not do any auditions. We got a direct call from Shark Tank India saying that we were looking for you in season 2 and we need you to register. So we registered it. There was a list of documentation that we had to submit. We did that, and we submitted the registration online. And we were called for, after 3 months, we were called for the final shooting in Bombay. So we went there, we did the final shooting, and it was aired in another 3-4 months.
Okay, so were there any behind the scenes Shark Tank pictures and everything which guided you in any manner?
Yes, of course, the team was really helpful, and in fact, so the pre-rehearsed part of the whole pitch is only the pitch that you give, which is a 3-minute pitch that you do in the beginning, where you're talking about your brand and introducing yourself. That is the only pre-rehearsed part that you do, and the Sony team and the Shark Tank team helps you create that pitch, which is relevant to the national television audience. So we did that, and so it's a 40-45 minutes cut take recording, and it's a no cut recording. It's completely a no cut recording. It's a very candid recording. And you just go through the flow, which is a Q&A with the sharks. And once the recording is done, so what is actually aired of that 15 minutes is basically a clip of everything cut down to 15 minutes.
In that episode as well, Vani was told as she doesn't listen. So what do you think? Because you are the co-founder as well along with her. So what is your take on it? Was it nervousness or something else?
I was nervous. She wasn't, clearly, because she was talking, and and it's important. Like you, when you initially also said, as women, when in business, you need to prove a point and you need to be out and loud. So we've always been conditioned to do that.
Ah, true.
And women always have that perception. Men have this perception for women, and even women have perceptions about women, and that they don't know their numbers so well. And Vani is a pro She is bang on, and you can't, and she knows what she's doing. So, end of the day, and we've been in the funding and the pitching ecosystem much before. We had Mankind Pharma funded before Shark Tank. So we've already gone through that phase. And with investors, you're actually selling your brand, right? So you need to convince them that whatever we're doing is making sense, and we're going to earn and get you the investment and get you the profits that you're looking at if you're investing in our brand. And what if you're doing certain things right now, these are the projections that we're looking at, and we are going to prove it. As much as a few things that the shark said was right when it came to offline, which was a mistake for us, and we realized it even after Shark Tank and before when the sharks told us, and after that as well. But I think it's a great learning curve also. So mistakes are in entrepreneurship are not called mistakes. They are actually great learnings. Because like today I can actually see, I will not have second thoughts, and I know what are the rights and the wrongs of offline market. What what are the pros and cons of marketplaces, what are the pros and cons of offline market, what are the pros and cons of your own D2C website, what is a B2B, or how much should a B2B business be coming out to be. So how is the pivot, how is your whole pie of business should be, and what are the pros and cons of different verticals for a business. So this journey of getting into the starting with marketplaces, getting into offline, feeling in offline, and then starting you're focusing on our own D2C, uh, has been such a huge learning curve for us. And as a brand, with time, because the ecosystem and the economy and the industries are so rapidly changing, even the investor sentiments and investor behavior is changing so fast. Like when we started the investment, the whole behavior was about creating a brand, burn model, create a story, spend money on branding, and numbers to aa jayenge. Looking at Flipkarts of the world and Amazons of the world ki chalo burn model karte hain. But now at this point in time, if you go out, investors do not care about a story. They want a profitable business.
True.
And they may want to make sure that if they're putting in money, are you a profitable business? There is no burning model. They said they don't want to. And also technologically, and in the technology wise, and there has been a lot of changes. Like I told you earlier also, back in 2020, setting up your own website was much difficult. Shopify was not so active and things like that. Now it's much easier, and the integrations and the putting up a website is much cheaper than what it was before. The integrations and the options that you get to make it more user friendly, is much better right now. So you're also evolving, the industries are also evolving.
Correct.
So that's how the journey of an entrepreneur also happens. So you're constantly pivoting with the industries.
Post Shark Tank, which product of yours gained the maximum popularity?
Period panties. So we've been struggling to actually promote and sell period panties. We started in 2022, and it took us almost a year. And post Shark Tank, when I think Vinita loved the product, and even Anupam loved the product, there was a huge talk about it. So apparently, the reusable period panties are the makhanas and the avocados of the world right now. They always existed. Like a cloth sanitary has always been there from generations. Okay, and nobody used to just demean them. Like avocados and makhanas were like literally nobody used to ask them, but they always existed. So it's just one of those things now that you understand the value when people are actually talking about
about
it. So
it.
there is a rage now, which now if you're not using a period panty, you're like, oh my god, you've not tried a period panty. It's like that. So it's one of those things. But it, having said all of this, as a product, end of the day, uh, you understand the quality and the vitamins and the USPs of that product once it is popular. So once you understand, I know people now who've tried period panties, and now even the new girls. So we are bestseller and the maximum selling sizes we do from triple double XS to triple XL.
Okay.
But our maximum selling sizes is XS and small.
Correct.
So now that we have girls entering and starting with something, starting with the menstrual product and started with period panty, I don't think they are ever going to get back to something so uncomfortable.
It's great. Actually, I wanted to know that what are the active sales platform that you are having right now?
Right now, so like I said, Dchika is a digital marketplace first brand, and Amazon is the highest contributor. Uh, but surprisingly and a very interesting thing, and we're very happy about it also. We recently got into quick commerce, and we are now like literally very close to building a sale channel which is as big as Amazon. So Amazon took us almost 5 years to build. Where actually we'll be taking less than half the time to build ourselves on quick commerce than we
commerce.
did on Amazon. It is
Great.
growing so fast. And the data says, and the projections and the forecast says that innerwear is going to be the next big category after FMCG for quick commerce.
It's very great. Also, post Shark Tank, what impact did Shark Tank, got for Dchika, based on sales or the number of products, or it must have got some traffic on your website as well and increased the sales. But what was the main thing?
Of course. So when Shark Tank happened, most brands were talking about 5x sales number orders and 10x numbers. Unfortunately, fortunately, we did not get those number of X's. But so what was happening at that time was there was a huge, upscale of orders and rush with brands. But over the period of time, it really got back to what they were actually having, what sales they were actually having before Shark Tank. For us, it was the other way around. We had a very consistent growth. We had a very not a very fast and a frequent push of sales, but we had a very prolonged growth, a consistent growth, and that growth was very profitability focused. So I will give you an example. So what we were spending on Amazon before Shark Tank for 100 rupee product, which was around 30 rupees of marketing cost on 100 rupee product on Amazon. Post Shark Tank, we only spent like 8 to 10 rupees
Oh,
for 100 rupee product. So our overall profitability increased.
increased.
So what was happening? People were actually coming on Amazon, on marketplaces, on online, searching not for a beginner bra or a period panty, but Dchika beginner bra and period panty. So the brand searches increased,
Okay.
and the product market fit came to being. So product market fit is something where you do not need to spend as much to sell a product, so the product starts performing organically. So that started happening for us.
Nice, very nice. Shark Tank does give such impact on
Of course,
for all the
yeah.
startups.
You are 15 minutes on national television in front of millions and millions of audience is for free. Is is obviously good for any brand which is literally struggling to reach out to
Yeah.
people.
So, what are the main revenue streams that you guys are having right now? It's Amazon, quick commerce.
Yeah, so we are divided. So we're basically on every possible portal that is available in India. We do pan India. So we our maximum sales come from Amazon at the moment. Then we have our website. Meesho is doing really well for us. And then from there, then we have Myntra, Ajio, Nykaa, Flipkart. So basically every possible website. Then we're on Zepto, we're on Instamart. We should be on Blinkit anytime soon. So Blinkit is always very busy. So we're just waiting for them to little take peace in themselves and look for Deechika when they have to.
So, what can the audience, as in the young girls, expect as in new upcoming products from Deechika's brand?
So Deechika is a 360-degree requirement of functional innerwear products that supports the teen girls and the young women. So teen girls and young women are very different categories. We cater to both, and we do very dual communication, because what we're communicating to teen girls is not something that works for young women. Because for teen girls, which is 8 years to 17 years old, the purchasing power is the mothers. So you're actually creating content for
Convincing the
convincing the mothers for their daughters. And on the other hand, for young women, which is 18-year-old to under 25. So yeah, so because we cater to these two categories, for teenagers, we're trying to make sure that the whole 360-degree requirement of their schooling active need are there. So a lot of functional products, a lot of comfortable products we plan to do. And for young women, more again, functional products. So we do products like backless bra straps,
Okay.
which is like a more hat products. And we also do, so even if we're selling a basic tube bra, we tell them we have like loops and extra straps that we give with them, which is detachable straps on the bra. And we don't tell them to buy a tube bra. So we're trying to educate them that you have a tube bra which Deechika is selling, and you can actually use that in a very functional way by wearing it in 6 different um, ways. So you can actually use that tube bra for 6 different dresses. So you can use the tube bra for a razor back or a halter top, something like that. And you have a bra for, a backless dress. So generally, if you're looking for a bra or an innerwear requirement for your young girl, it's not like she doesn't like wearing a backless dress or a razor rag. They actually wear it more than women. But if you look at in the women's market, you'll always find very sexy or very complicated products, or either the cup sizes with under wires and things like that, which a young girl cannot wear. But what do we do? How can she look sexy, and how can she look, wear fun clothes if she doesn't have the appropriate innerwear to support that?
Right,
So that is what Deechika focuses on, and every time we're getting more functional products to meet the needs.
I think social media did play a great role in convincing the audience that you wanted, right?
Yeah. So we do a lot of, Vani and I, we both personally dig into our DMs and customer responses and try to understand, because I do products, so I do a lot of it myself. And I want to understand what are the problems. So we recently launched a shapewear. So for the longest time, we were a very body positive brand, and we were thinking that we were always contemplating that we should do a shapewear or not. But our DMs were flooded by the request that when is Deechika coming up with something like a shapewear. So finally we launched a shapewear, and because we were really working on it to figure out that what is the right shapewear, which is literally not available in the market, because somebody who's wearing a shapewear is generally a plus size girl. So she would want something which, so when I used to also wear shapewears, there are always problems of rolling down, and it makes you feel like you can't breathe, and the edges are generally cutting you. So so considering all of that, so the whole thing is that when Deechika and we're developing a product, and we're not developing products like 10 bras or 10 innerwear a month, because everything takes a lot of R&D and research. So we test the products on ourselves. So like even period panties, Vani and I use the period panties for almost 6-8 months ourselves before we actually launch the product.
Oh.
So we do a lot of use cases before we actually launch the product. So we, like for our shapewear, we use this silicone bonds, which is like this silicone sticks here, which are literally invisible, but it doesn't make your shapewear roll down. And the fabric is so breathable, and it's not, literally snugging you up. So we really work on the product and make sure that if you're launching something, it makes sense.
But have you ever changed your product or made any changes in your product after the customer's feedback?
Yeah, a lot of them. One of the biggest example is our padded camisoles. So, which are the bra camisoles. We launched it for the teenagers because somebody who's not comfortable in just getting into beginner bras and was wearing a camisole and wants something in the camisole, so we launched that as a product. So when we launched that product for the women's category, or sorry, the young category, the young girls category, which is listed in the women's category, it did not work for the women's category because their body is much developed than a 8 or 10 or 12-year old. So we, after getting a lot of returns and a lot of complaints, we figured, okay, this is not working for this particular age group. So within the same product, we created a product for 8 to 16-year-old, and then 16 to under 24.
25.
So the teenager padded bras are generally this foam padding which gives the support and just the padding. But for the young girls, which is the small, medium, large, extra large, we do the removable cups, which makes sense for us. So, and then a lot of times we also alter the lengths.
Okay.
So sometime we made it very long, and then we started getting complaints. Then we made it very short. Then again it started making. So we had to. Then we finally figured a length based on our customer
Customer's
complaints and customer feedback. And so it's like a constant process. Like our so we launched. So earlier we used to do these bras, which were just double layer cotton bras, so no padding. Then we launched the padding bras. So with padding, the whole pattern changes. Okay, which we did not. So we used the same pattern and just inserted pads in the same pattern, and it did not work for us.
Okay.
So once we got the feedbacks, we actually changed the pattern. We made sure that the cuts are little deeper. Because for the younger girls, we did not make the neckline very deep. But then for the adults, we had to make it deeper. So there's a lot of R&D and working happening based on the customer feedbacks, which is very important.
Also, every business has this aha moment, which becomes the turning point. So what was the turning point for DJiga which made you both feel like that this is going to be a game changer for us?
I think a lot of turning points have been there, but one of the turning points was when we actually literally put like shutters on ourselves, focusing that now we have to stop on a burn model, and we cannot have a loss making or a EBITDA negative brand, and we have to be positive no matter what. And that got us on taking a very, very hard stop on a lot of things, and a hard call of scaling down. Scaling down and maintaining the sales, not going down on sales. So what we did was we drastically scaled down. So where we had 35 to 40 people working with us, now we have 12 people, and we're doing the same revenue with 1/4 of the expenses that we have. So that sounds very easy, but it is very difficult. Layouts are the most difficult things because people really matter, and you become a team, and then you have to actually choose that who can do the things which are relevant, and who is important or not important, and things like that. You need to make decisions. You need to make very hard calls on your strategic decisions.
Correct.
So Vani and I, instead of spending on so influencers was something. We don't do influencers now, we only do micro influencers. We create only UCG contents, very relatable. I do it myself. I make the scripts myself now. Like, I have my social media team and I have everything, but the script part has to go from me, because I want to make sure that whoever is talking about the brand has to go right. And we do a lot of founder videos now. So we make sure like 50% of our content, not 50%, like 30% of our content is founder content.
No, it's
So
good.
we are talking about every product, we are educating about every, we do a lot of testimonial videos. So we, get hold of our customer fathers, customer mothers, and actually telling them to please make a video. And we actually guide them how to make a video and tell them what they like about the brand, and since when are they using the brand, because now we have uh, customers who's using Teachika products for multiple years, 2 to 3 years, and they are so stuck when they love the product. So it's very important for us to make sure that they come out and tell other
Okay.
people. So we do that. And then we've sold more than 1 million period panties, yeah. So that is the proof, and we make sure that the proof is out and loud.
Yeah, true. Okay, just a fun question. If what's the most crazy thing you would do for D Chika if you'll be, given unlimited budget for a day?
Unlimited budget for a day, I would have Meera Kapoor talk about Deechika and her daughter. She has a daughter, and I would just figure out a way to go on a lunch with her, give her the products, and tell her that you have to be the face of the brand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're really looking for an amazing, most relevant face for Deechika. So that would be it. I would go out for that.
That's great. Also, the investment which you got from, which you secured from Shark Tank, how have you utilized those, that particular money into your business for scaling it up?
Shark Tank money, because we were already in a certain scale of business. Shark Tank, only 60 lakhs came from Shark Tank. So when in a running business and a scaling business, it's not a very significant amount that would make a difference in the business. But investor money is always used for branding and always used in the relevant places to make the brand scale. So that's the basic agenda of using the investor money. So yeah, that's what we did
So,
also.
are there any international expansion plans as well?
Yeah, so there is definitely. We already sell through Amazon in the US and in the UAE, and we're looking at we're very aggressively actually looking at resellers
Okay.
across India and within India. So we're looking at a model where we can have more and more resellers selling Deechika products on different platforms like Amazon, Meesho, Flipkart, and any other offline, online, their own websites, anything. So we're more than happy to have resellers coming up to us and collaborate and partner with us to sell our products, because the reach that you want to have and the product is so essential, which is required in every hook and corner, starting from a tier 1 to tier 4. It's a product which is required at any level. So how much can one brand, till where can it go? We're not a Unilever, or we're not like an ITC na. So you need more and more, and you need that ecosystem. So we're creating that ecosystem to come together and make sure the product reaches the right places.
Where do you see D Chika in the coming 5 years?
So when it comes to a brand level, we should be a brand that comes first on anybody's thought when they think of innerwear for a teenager or a young woman. So you can't, like, if you're talking about a bra or a panty or any innerwear, the first brand should be Deechika, and we want to reach every household. And it's not about the product. I think the biggest happiness of vision that will come to both of us will be when at every household, at every level, uh, discussion about menstrual health or body issues, or issues that women face during her difficult phases of life, or just not make those phases of life difficult, but celebrate it. They when a family and a brother or a father can sit on a dining table and talk about it freely, and no mother has to take their daughter in a separate room, close the door and talk about it. So I
True,
think
correct.
that is one thing that we really want to do in schools, or colleges. If a girl is going through PMS or having a bad day or a cramp, she should not be really telling her that probably I have an upset stomach. She should very comfortably tell her mates, her male mates or friends, that this is a problem, and they should be very normal and considerate, and just be okay with it and deal with it very casually, like they should. So I
Correct.
think these changes are
Needs to be
so
normalized, yeah.
socially important for Deepika. And in terms of monetary, commercially, we look at ourselves at being like a 300 crore in the next 3 years.
Oh, great.
So yeah.
But what do you think? As in, if you wouldn't be doing this business, as in DJ Cars, what would you be doing today?
I can't think of anything, honestly. I've thought about it a lot of times. For me, this is sweat and blood. And honestly, I've been in business since I was 22-year-old. So this is all I know. And if it was not Dichika, then I don't know. Like, I've never figured it out.
Ooh, this is something
Yeah.
very inspiring. But what's that one piece of advice you would like to give to the young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, or young teen girls aspiring to be entrepreneurs? So, what's that one piece of advice you'll give?
I think if they have a product or they have any idea, I think they should just go ahead and implement it, because you have to understand that India is one of the youngest countries in the world, and there is idea available every second. Okay, and every inch there is an idea which is available. The only thing that matters that who is executing it, and you need balls to execute it, honestly. So the thing is that you need to just, whatever you have an idea and you want to do something, just bring it on and do it, and do not look for, oh my god, I have to create an investor pitch. See, honestly, I should not be saying that, but you don't need an investor till you feel that you need to scale at certain level.
Okay.
Go to investment or a fund raising treadmill when it is you're actually reached a certain scale and you think that now I have a product market fit, I figured out the product, because it takes a lot of time to actually figure out a product, because and it comes only after execution and a lot of mistakes. Because like I said, even I started with kids wear and then launched one product and then launched the second product, and then after a very long time we figured that these are the 2 or 3 core products that is running the business, and within the business also there is one category or one product line which generates business, and there's an other that generates the brand, creates the brand. So you need to figure out all those things, and all those things take time. You can't sit with a laptop in a cafe and figure it out. That's what Gen Zs do. They think that they have a chat GPT and they put on their headphones and they think sitting in a cafe sipping a coffee will solve problems. It doesn't happen like that. You really need to dirty your hands and get out and figure it out and do a lot of mistakes, be consistent. And because that's also because this journey needs a lot of patience.
True.
I've not, like at Deechika, we've not been able to crack what we want to crack in so many years. And every single day is a fight. And so waking up with that patience and that motivation and that consistency,
To still go on.
yes, to still go on, needs a lot of strength and a lot of strength, like a very strong headed person. So to figure all of these out, that are you even ready for something like this? So don't go out in the market till you figure these things out, because then you'll be in deep shit. Because once you start in this fundraise process, now it's a treadmill. Once you raise money, and there is somebody sitting like a hawk on your head because that person has invested money and has invested money to take out profits from you.
True.
There is a and when you're on a scale journey, you constantly need to be pumped in. You can't just raise a certain amount and sit on it and make wonders out of it. You need to constantly pump in money to achieve what you have to achieve, what you've actually projected to the investors. So you start that once you're ready, and you're ready when you know that now I don't need to burn so much money. I need money to just scale on a profitable, just I will scale being profitable. So being profitable and scaling sounds the most easiest sentence and the shortest sentence, but it is the most difficult thing to do. So unless you don't figure out and crack that, क्योंकि आप जाके and prove it. The thing is proving it, because
Correct.
there are thousands and millions of people going to investors and telling them कि हम ये कर देंगे. Or now investors don't believe in that. You need to prove it. And you need to prove it with numbers. You can't build a brand based on gut feelings and stories, because gone are those days. So I think that is one, advice I would like to give to the budding entrepreneurs.
That's such an inspiring conversation it went. It was great having you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Most welcome, and thank you so much for having me.
Okay, guys, and that's a wrap for this particular episode. Do tell me in the comments which part of the episode you like the most. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.